The clothes had stains consistent with blood on it. Crossman Jr.'s explanation for this was that he had changed his clothes before trying to drag his father's body out of the house. But he wasn't arrested until 4 days later, after Vermont State Police obtained an arrest warrant for him. He's since been arraigned and pleaded not guilty. Now, the reason that I chose this story in particular to be the subject of today's crime report is that there's something of a pattern that I noticed. Brian Crossman Sr. was a politician serving a 1-year term as the town of Paulette's liaison to buildings and development and liaison to the town highway department. There's a mouthful. And he's not even the only small town politician to have been murdered that week. Because only a few days later in Kentucky, you had that sheriff, Sean Mickey Steins, who killed Judge Kevin Mullins in his own chambers. So once again, these big crimes happen in these small towns, and of course everyone out there in both these places will be screeching that this kind of thing doesn't happen here, except it always happens there. And predictably, the white media doesn't even attempt to connect any dots or acknowledge that there's any dots that need to be connected. So this Brian Crossman Jr. character murdered 3 people in a town of about 1,400 folks. 3 people. That's the same number of people who were killed in the entire city of Chicago that same weekend. More people were killed in one day in Paulette, Vermont than died in the entire city of Chicago that entire weekend. Now, where's the white media outlets at to tell everyone how Chicago is the deadliest city in America? Their concern for public safety disappears the instant they don't have black people to point to. That seems to be the problem. They can't get a full head of steam about public safety unless there's a black person who could be made the bad guy of the story. Now, in this case, the killer's sister, Rachel, was interviewed by Vermont State Police, and she told them Crossman Jr. has always shown an interest in death, and that he tortured frogs and kittens in the past. I mean, this is what always happens, isn't it? Some satanic abomination or another happens in one of these small towns for the umpteenth time, and everybody pretends as if they're so shocked, oh, that couldn't possibly have happened here, except that it did, and all the warning signs were there. The only thing that this guy didn't do was to torture a nun in front of the local police station. And these are the exact same individuals who will be so sanctimonious and self-righteous, getting in front of the camera, wagging their fingers at black people and saying, "You people, you need to learn to stop killing each other." And of course, nobody's going to be asking any questions about what's going on in these homes that's producing psychos like this. So we have an across-the-board conspiracy of silence. From the perpetrators to the so-called white media, nobody says nothing. That being the case, these public officials who are being killed either by their friends or in some cases by their own family members, their children no less, well, it looks like they've already accepted that this is going to be an occupational hazard of the job or a rather occasionally abnormal part of their normal lives. Good day, and be one.